Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to Synchronicity Web TV. I am your host, Nadiya Shah, and this is your moment of synchronicity. Well, today I really get to have a lot of fun, and I'm just so very excited to share with you, if I may say, one of my former students, Kassia Kristoff. Now, Kassia actually took a class with me a year ago with Kepler College, which was called YouTube for Astrologers. It's a class I teach with them every year. And she was somebody who just stood out from the beginning. She had so much charisma in her presentation. I just knew that this woman was going to be a star, and she has proven me right. She is shining so brightly in astrology and tarot and all that she does. I think very soon you're going to see why I call her Charisma Kassia. And she's so good. She's done videos for my channel. She's also now going to be teaching with Synchronicity University, the September Speaker Series 2021, where I have assembled some brilliant astrologers, and of course Kassia is one of them. And until the end of August, you can choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class, and you will see why it's totally worth it once you get to know Kassia a little bit better if you don't already know her. Well, look, Kassia, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Me too, Kassia. And like I said, I'm so proud of you. You took like everything that I taught, but also built on it in your own unique way. And you have just been growing and shining and cultivating your own audience. And I'm so proud of you on so many layers. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for what you're doing on the practical end, but then I'm really proud of you as well, because I know that you're putting good energy into the world. And I think that that's so rewarding for me as your former teacher to see that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, that's really what it's all about, is just all of us finding our own authentic voice and really shining our light and sharing what it is that we're learning on this journey, and we're all eternally learning. I think that's the coolest thing, really, and why I'm so excited to be able to do this class. Well, first of all, I'm excited just because I admire you so much, and it's an incredible honor. But it's so exciting because what I was kind of looking over my journey in astrology and tarot and all the different things that I do. And I was realizing that part of what helps me so much is the teaching of it, because we learn so much. We learn best through teaching. And so it's like I continue to teach myself and to learn from people such as you and in all of these different ways. And then I share what I'm learning. And that really helps that knowledge base to grow. I don't think I would remember half the stuff that I've learned if it weren't for sharing it with others. And yeah, it's been such an incredible journey, not just with astrology and learning astrology, but learning how to connect more deeply with myself as well, and connect more deeply with my viewers and my audience, and just continuing to allow myself to step more fully into my own light and into my own path, I guess, if you will. And we all express things so differently. We all are, when we are in our authenticity, we are all so beautiful, and we have this unique language and this unique light that reaches people in different ways. And that's one of the things that drew me into your channel originally. When I was learning astrology, I learned a lot just from watching your videos and sort of taking note of all the different ways that you would talk about the relationships between the planets and the stuff like that. You know, astrology is so beautiful because it's like a dance, and it's like a melody. And so the more you get to know the planets and the energies and the melody, the more it comes alive. And you really help to make that come alive. And so it's like your unique light attracts the people that are attracted to you. And that liberates people like me and allows people like me to step into who I am and to shine my own light and to share things in my own way. And then people are drawn and attracted to that. And it's just another perfect example of how each flame lights the next. It's sort of like, I've used the analogy before of like when you're at a prayer vigil or something. And so each person passes the candle to the next and lights the flame of the next person, and how that flame just really envelops the world. And so we're all just learning and growing together. And just stepping more deeply into who we are and our own unique path and our own unique light. And that's what I love about astrology too, is it really shows us how to do that. It gives us that blueprint for what's possible. And it gives us all these opportunities and all these different ways to enrich ourselves and to continue to grow and find who we are.
I thank you so much for saying the lovely things that you said about my work and how it has encouraged you to claim your own brilliance. That means so much to me. Like, that is so incredibly rewarding to me. But I have to say at the same time, like, you really are doing that as well. Like, you are really taking that flame and you are owning it and shining it so brightly. So it's wonderful and that much more rewarding for me to see you doing just that. And I know how many people you inspire, and knowing that you're putting such good energy into the world, love into the world, that means a lot to me as well. I loved what you said a little bit earlier about teaching, because I always say that we co-create the learning experience together. Like, that's how I understand it in terms of when I'm teaching as well. And so the fact that you're able to see that also, like, it's this give and take, it's this relationship that ultimately strengthens the students and the teacher, and more everybody's able to be stronger together. That's a very powerful thing to experience.
Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely is. And I think that we really lose something when we put ourselves in a certain box and we say, like, I'm a student or I'm a teacher. And that's all, because then we really stunt our ability to grow and continue to develop. It's like we're always both at the same time. And the most brilliant and successful people are those people who are students of life, even as they are teaching. You know, we're always wanting to expand and always wanting to grow, and noticing and paying attention to all the opportunities that we have to do that. In every single moment of our lives, we're being taught something. And we are teaching something as well. So it's being able to notice that in all the different ways that the universe is really conspiring to help us to grow and to learn. And then, of course, sharing what we've learned, and how it's just a beautiful continuous cycle. Yeah.
Yes, I love that phrase. And I know I've heard it before. The universe is conspiring on your behalf, right? The universe is conspiring for you to become a more loving, authentic, wise version of yourself. That's the way I understand it. But that phrasing, the universe is conspiring on your behalf, is just so incredible to me. Just the awareness of it, how that can change our orientation to each other and to the world around us. It's very empowering.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I can't remember exactly where that quote comes from, but I know the one that you're talking about. So, you know, it's about manifesting, I think. Like, when you set an intention, the entire universe conspires upon your behalf to make it come to fruition. But it is, and I think that that's one of my favorite things too. When I watch your channel, when you talk about the universe being kind and loving, and that whole energy, and because I think that a lot of times people don't necessarily see that or feel that, like, we lose our connection to that, because there are so many challenges that we do experience, which of course is just part of what makes us stronger and wiser. And they're all things that we came here to experience, but in the moment, sometimes it doesn't feel very good. And so we get into that mentality sometimes where we can even go to the extreme depending on what our experience is, where we almost think it's conspiring against us. But the fact of the matter is, it is always conspiring for us and with us. And it's that knowledge of the with that I think is really the most powerful, which is that energy. And you talked about it. I think you used the term co-creation when you were talking about teaching too, because it's always a co-creation. And so that gives us a real sense of empowerment when we realize and understand, oh, the universe is conspiring with me. So I am an active part of this process, and I, with the universe, can actually shift my experience if it's something that is undesirable to me. And astrology is a really great window to see sort of some of those opportunities and to see some of those larger patterns, and to really understand sometimes the ways that the universe is conspiring with us, and so much more, really. But it's very much that energy of being that co-creator, and knowing and understanding that we are so incredibly supported each and every moment. Even in those challenging moments, we're being supported because we're being supported to find within us the strength that maybe we didn't know we had before. And every time we have to dig down and find that deeper strength, we then have that much more to draw upon as we continue to move through our lives. So it's really, I mean, everything that we experience is a gift. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned even when it's challenging, because I want to acknowledge that life can be painful. My son is in the 8th house. I know that sometimes life can really hurt. Life can feel unfair sometimes. But if we at least choose to approach our lives with some intention of maybe becoming more wise through the journey or more loving in some way, it can shift so much for us in terms of our experience, for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The energy and the power of love. There really is nothing greater than that. And every time that we bring love into a situation, every time that we bring it into an understanding that we're having, something that we're contemplating, we bring that through in action. We bring that through in just energy and resonance. Like, love can absolutely shift everything and anything. So I love that.
Yes, absolutely. And it's interesting because as you're talking about love, I'm thinking, well, of course you would be drawn to evolutionary astrology then, right? Of course you would be, because it is about understanding consciousness and consciously aligning with greater love and greater, as I would put it, greater love and greater wisdom, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also the evolutionary astrology perspective that you're going to be bringing to Synchronicity University with the September speaker series. So talk about your class a little bit, because I know you're going to be going through the Zodiac signs and helping us to understand them from that evolutionary astrology perspective.
Yeah. And so that's the thing that I really enjoy about astrology, is there's so many different ways to interpret it and so many different ways to understand it and what it is that it's offering us. And so from this evolutionary point of view, it's really fun, because some people will look at an astrology chart and they'll say, okay, so I'm this way because of this, and that's never going to change. You know, like an example, like my Venus is in Gemini, so I'm always going to be like a player, and I may not have a successful relationship because I can't commit. Or, you know, these different ways, like my son's in Aries, so I'm just always going to be aggressive, and there's nothing I can do about that. And it's like these energies, and it's like, well, yes, but no. But there is a higher expression of that energy, and there's I don't want to say lower. I don't like the word lower expression. But there's a base expression of that energy, and there's a more refined expression of that energy. And there's an invitation there. Even when we find an aspect of our charts that we may find challenging, not necessarily saying the aspects that I just made examples of are challenging. They're beautiful. My Venus is in Gemini personally. But when we do have these aspects that we may perceive as challenging, those are opportunities to grow and evolve. Like, our astrology chart can really give us a blueprint of our soul's desired evolution in a lifetime. And so when we look at it from that point of view, we see the invitation that our soul is giving us to grow, because we chose exactly when we were born. Our souls decided to incarnate at a specific time so that we had a specific energy blueprint to work with. But it's not something that defines us. It's something that we get to define, and we get to grow into and expand. And so what we're going to be talking about in my class is the different axes of the zodiac. And so that's the idea, or the understanding, that the zodiac it's like a circle. I could think of it almost like a pizza pie divided into 12 slices. And so each of those slices is a house, which is ruled by a sign. And it goes, we go all the way from beginning at Aries and completing at Pisces. And each sign has a sign that a lot of people would call it an opposing sign, which is the sign directly across from it. However, the word opposing is a little bit misleading, because it makes it sound as if they are sort of at war with each other, and they're really not. There are some opposite qualities that a lot of these signs have, but they have similar qualities too, and they have a similar goal. They just have different ways of going about and achieving that goal. And so when we can understand that, we can draw from each of those. We can't fully understand our sign, whatever sign it is that we're working with, unless we understand the sign that sits opposite it in the chart. That's like the duality of it, I guess you would say, the polarity or the duality of that sign. And when we can fully understand that, and we can actually reach the highest expression of a zodiac sign by drawing on some of the qualities of its polarity. And so the class is going to be about learning how to balance those polarities. How can we draw upon some of these qualities, bring in some of these other qualities, and find kind of the best of both worlds, if you will. And so, yeah, we're going to be looking at that. We're going to be talking about some of the different placements that you might have. There's different indicators of which of these polarities you may be working with more in a lifetime. And so we're going to talk about what might indicate that that's a significant polarity for people to be working with, and just help people understand themselves better and their evolutionary journey in this lifetime. Like, all of our charts contain all of the signs, right? There's always, we all have all 12 houses. They're all ruled by one of these signs. So we have a little bit of everything in us, but we can see sort of where our soul energy wants to focus in this lifetime by which of these polarities of signs we have are more active in our charts, I guess you could say. And so it's when we can understand that, we can really begin to understand how to work with our own energies and balance our own energies and come into the most fruitful and I'm trying to think of the word that I want to say here, the highest expression of ourselves and our this incarnation. Like, how can we make the most of that experience? And I think it'll help people a lot too, just maybe understanding some of the things that they've been going through in their life and some of the major themes. Like, it's a really easy way to learn about our astrology chart without having to go into a lot of really intense specifics, because we can look at it and we can see pretty plainly where some of these energies are. And it's like these beautiful overarching themes that we can then begin to get more specific from there and learn more details. But it gives us a great jumping off point to begin understanding ourselves.
And so these signs, I think of them as a spectrum of energy as well, right? It's interesting that we're talking about this just a little bit earlier. I was talking to Rachel Schwartz, Kabbalistic astrologer, and she ended up sort of spontaneously talking about the Leo Aquarius axis, for example. And so as you're talking, I'm thinking, yes, it is a very profound thing to think about how it isn't just that you have your sign and that's it, but just acknowledging a polarity, just acknowledging that spectrum that's there, it is the beginning of the appreciation that all signs are a part of us, of each of our experiences. And I would think certain signs being emphasized in a chart, like by a lot of planets, that's what you mean, right? When you say that maybe you're here in this lifetime to understand a certain polarity or a certain axis more than others. One of the things we might look at is if you've got a lot of planets in a particular sign, right?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of planets in a particular sign. And I would say if you have a lot of planets, say, in both of those houses or those polarities, it would be an even stronger likelihood. Like, say, utilizing the Leo Aquarius axis, for example. If you had planets in Leo and Aquarius, then that would even more strongly suggest. But yes, having either one of those, that's a good example of that. Any of our personal planets or our nodes is a really good indicator as well. Our sun, our ascendant, our moon sign, those major indicators and those major sort of core building blocks of our personality. Those are going to be polarities that we're probably going to be working with in this lifetime. Even more so if there's more planets that are also in those signs. And then, of course, the nodes, which represents one of the things they represent, of course, is the energy that we're moving into in this lifetime and the energies that we've sort of refined in the past, or sort of our comfort zone. The comfort zone, the known versus the unknown, and the new territory. So the nodes, of course, being a very big one. But yeah, those are absolutely some of the different indicators when we're looking at the astrology chart.
It's a very powerful thing to consider just on the perspective of the nodes, because I nodes are a really big deal in evolutionary astrology, I know. And I mean, I love the nodes. I even wrote a book on the nodes as well, because it is such a very potent and important symbol in the chart. But as you were talking, I was thinking that, yeah, the nodes are always operating at a polarity. Of course, it's like so obvious with the nodes that you are here to understand this particular spectrum of energy, because the nodes are always opposite each other in the chart.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's a really primary one. And I think it's interesting because, you know, we note that about the nodes. And so a lot of people pay attention to the polarity when they're looking at the nodes, but then we forget about it when we're looking at the rest of the chart. But that energy is absolutely still there, and it's just in order, you know, kind of like we said earlier, in order to fully understand a sign, you really want to understand that polarity. You know, it's like even if you think about a quarter, right? It has heads and it has tails. Both of those sides make up the quarter. You can't fully know the quarter if you don't know the other side. And I mean, we could go even deeper with this if we wanted to, and really get into the philosophical sort of applications of like the shadow side and knowing our light and knowing our darkness. It's both of those are aspects of who we are. And so unless we're looking at the full picture, the full spectrum, there's something missing. There's something left out. And sometimes even in the simplest form, just being able to, like we said, draw on some of those qualities of the other sign can really help to balance out that energy. And because it's all about harmony and balance, really. Everything that we're learning and bringing together in our lifetimes, it's about finding that equilibrium, finding that balance, finding that sort of that middle ground, if you will. But having, of course, those contrasting experiences, those intense contrasting experiences that help teach us sort of how to find that equilibrium.
It's a very powerful thing to consider, the 6 axes of the Zodiac, right? That's what you're going to be teaching on. And so you're going to be going through all these 6 axes one at a time to help us to understand the darker side, the enlightened side of the given spectrum that we may be working with.
Absolutely. And it's going to be really fun, because when you think about it, what we're going to be doing is exploring the full psyche, the full human psyche. Because this journey through the Zodiac really brings us through the whole journey of human evolution. You know, beginning with that first initiatory spark of Aries energy, that individuation, and ending with that melding and that completion into the collective with that beautiful Pisces energy. And so we go through a whole evolution, and it's just the entire spectrum of the human experience. And the astrological wheel in and of itself is an evolution. Just like we said, starting from that first energy and ending with that 12th energy. Everything is about, we are constantly evolving. That is really, it's like that quote where they say the only constant in life is change. It's like we are, if we are not growing and we are not evolving, then we are essentially dead. And so that is our purpose. That's the purpose of even if you look at life from like a biological standpoint, biologically, we are always evolving. Everything is in a constant state of growth. And so it's really the understanding and the examination of that growth, and more than the examination, I guess, the experience. That's what we come here for, is the experience of it. But it helps as humans, it helps when we can examine it a little bit, because that helps us to understand and put our experience into perspective.
Yes, and just be more conscious. To be more conscious helps us to tap into the best energies possible for us, given where we might be in our own personal growth. And so I'm so excited about your class, the 12 signs, the 6 axes. I have a feeling I'm going to see them very differently as a result of your class. So again, Kassia is going to be teaching at the September speaker series of Synchronicity University at synchronicityuniversity.com. And until the end of August, you can choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class, and a limited number of scholarships are available as well. Kassia, thank you. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited to learn from you. I'm really looking forward to your class.
Yay. Thank you so much, Nadiya. It is, like I said, such an honor and such a privilege. I'm so excited to be able to teach this class and to share in that beautiful experience of growth, like we were talking about. The teaching, being the teacher and the student, and being how I'm trying to think how I want to word this right now. Being a student of yours who is now a teacher. It's so beautiful, and it's so full circle, and it's just incredible. Just the way that life works, and the way that the universe really is like we said, so miraculous and conspiring on our behalf. And you see it like that, just the miracles. When I took your class a year ago, I could not have possibly, the idea that I would be and having the opportunity to teach a class for you, I would never have dreamed. And so it's just, there's so much possibility out there that we aren't even aware of, and that we don't know exists. And so it's just about following our hearts, taking that risk, taking that leap, stepping into our evolution, which is, of course, what we're going to be talking about during the class is just allowing that process of evolution to unfold and trusting that process and where it leads. And so I'm very grateful that I trusted that process, and that I took that class with you, and just so grateful for the opportunity to get to give back a little bit of that light and a little bit of that love that I and everyone received from you as well.
Kassia, you really do me proud. I gotta say, it is a privilege for me to have you at my school, and I just love watching you shine. I have to say, I absolutely love it. And I was telling you earlier, I literally use your channel as an example to my current students to say, this is someone who's doing it right. This is someone who's got it, who's tapped into her truth and is running with it. And I celebrate you, even if I'm not saying it to you at all times. Just know how very, very proud I am of you, that you're doing something really good in the world. It's wonderful to see.
Well, thank you so much. That is so beautiful to hear. You may be able to feel how much that fills up my heart to hear that, but it is absolutely, absolutely true. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It's so beautiful to see somebody who has so much success and is really utilizes that it's like that concept that I talk about a lot, about the giving and the receiving and having that open channel. It's like you share everything that you have. It's not just like your knowledge and your wisdom that you share, but you share your success. You care so much about seeing other people succeed. And that's the energy that we're cultivating as we move into this next era of consciousness, right? Is that energy of each of us lifting each other up. And it's not an energy of like competition, or an energy of, well, I'm better than you because I have had more success and I'm more well known. It's like you look at everybody as an equal, and as it's like that energy of like as brothers and sisters. And it's all about really giving, like the way that you offer opportunities to people and the way that you help to lift other people up. It's just really, truly, truly inspiring, and something that I aspire to do as well. It's just, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So I want to thank you for that, and just really acknowledge you for that, and for just the genuine loving energy that you put out into the world, because I feel that, and I know that every single one of your viewers, every single one of your students, and of course, I'm sure those who know you on a personal level as well, I know that they feel that. And so to have that beautiful reflection reflected back to me by you means so much. It absolutely means so much to me to have you see and acknowledge me the way that I see and acknowledge you. And I want to say that to everyone who's watching too. Like, I see and acknowledge every single one of you, as I know Nadiya does. Like, you are all so incredibly beautiful. And it's just the feeling of being able to share that energy is just, it's incredible. There's nothing that really compares to it.
Kassia, I got chills listening to you. And yes, I first of all, thank you for the affirmation of my work. But yes, seeing that in other people, it's so rewarding, isn't it? Like, it's just such a wonderful thing to see other people shine and to be able to celebrate that. It's just such a beautiful thing. And so I'm sure and I hope that other people felt that love as well that you just gave. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Truly, thank you.
Yeah, thank you everybody out there. Thank you for watching. Again, you can check out Kassia very soon at synchronicityuniversity.com. Choose Your Tuition Rate is on right now until the end of August, and I look forward to seeing you in class. And thank you again for watching. And until we connect again, take care. Bye.